Alright, we're back with another video today, specifically to talk about Omega difficulty. Yes, you will need to be Cosmic Prestige, there is a way, I'm not going to really talk about it, but if you're solo, you definitely have to have Cosmic Prestige. And, having chase in a game isn't a bad thing. So once you do get into it, one of the big things is that things like Holosim or X Defense, you can enter story mode. Pretty much any content in the game has an Omega override if you use the command that allows you to go in and play that content. Now I'm playing on Magic that's been patched, and I also have like admin level gear, which is beyond even Omega level gear. So it's not gonna look, it's not gonna be as easy as I make it seem. Like I have 90% damage reduction, like 93,000 physical defense. Like it's just, it's definitely on the cheating level, but it just allows me to go through and just check out content and whatnot without it really taking forever. So this is going to take a little bit because the affixes need a little bit of working on. Mainly some of the duplication can't be duplicated because it won't add it, and it's how the system is. It's kind of hard to get around it without just basically coding the entire thing, and that doesn't work very well. You want to really stay in the pipelines that already exist if you don't want to have severe issues. That being said, one of the things that'll happen is people always talk about, best in slot, and this gear and that gear, and this will kind of get rid of that in the sense of so many items will have so many different affixes, and it will really allow you to try different builds out because the items are going to be so vastly wildly different. One of the things is you need to make sure, like people are like balance characters, and I want to do that, but it's hard to balance when we're not even to this because these items change so many things. I would rather wait to see how that shakes out in the long run, to see how that goes. Character balancing to me doesn't even necessarily mean like stat boosting or whatever. There's a lot of skills that are pretty much not very useful, or they're just so underpowered compared to the rest of the toolkit a character has that is some of the stuff that I'd like to focus on. Beyond just like raw power, everybody just looks at speed, and I get it. It's about time invested, but I also want to make sure that the skills that the characters have can also be utilized, because the other half to that is it doesn't really matter how many items or what the items are if the skills just aren't very good, that they can't even take advantage of them, right? So that will be like the second half to this difficulty being implemented is to be able to finally go back and balance characters properly. But that'll be down the road, and so we'll have to see what that entails. And nothing's set in stone per se. I really want to make sure this stuff works out good, and we can kind of make stuff really viable and fun again. So, alright, the next thing. So switching gears for a minute, we're also going to talk about like server versus server, which I'm not really into. Tahiti has a huge population, 2,000 players or so, and a lot of those players play over here. And Monel is in our Discord, he helps me. I talk to him quite a bit, and so it's just unfortunate that I see a lot in like Steam and other places, just people, not talking very well about them. And that's, you don't have to agree with the other servers, or maybe you had a bad experience or whatever. I don't really need to know or even really care, not to be rude, but it has nothing to do with the server over here, right? And we have our own rules, and hopefully you follow them. If not, we will take care of people if they are unreasonable. It's just that simple. Um, we provide a different type of game experience, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's better. Everyone has their own preferences, and we want to be able to cater to a different kind of preference. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. I'm not going to try to make it everybody's cup of tea. I just want to be able to provide fun. I was a fan, still am a fan, and we just want to make the game viable for a while, considering that the development doesn't really exist on the same that it used to. And that includes supporting other servers. He helps me, I try to help him, and also other servers that people come and ask questions. So I know that people like competition, that some form of it is healthy, but not in the negative sense that I've seen. And if people are like, oh, well, I've seen Tahiti people talk bad or whatever, I'm not really interested, like that doesn't matter. Like there's always going to be detractors. You don't want to do the same exact stuff that someone else is doing, because, it doesn't make it right. So, if you want to say something or whatever, just try to keep it out of our Discord unless it's a positive thing. We're not Tahiti, right? So if you want to try to be comparative, that's fine. It just doesn't matter. Like you say, well, Tahiti, this, that, I'm just going to ignore you anyways. Not to say that, that I'm trying to be mean, but like those metrics don't really matter, right? We have completely different goals, and I think they do a really good job over there. They have a great team, and they try to bring on authentic server experience, which doesn't mean it's a clone of how live was or whatever. They do their own stuff, but it's a pretty good experience compared to live. I play over there, so hopefully we can tone those things down. Obviously, I'm not your daddy. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I do like to keep things cordial and whatnot. So, anyways, moving on. I kind of want to talk about super groups. I know I just kind of touched on that before, but what it is that I'd like to have levels, and how it kind of works is when you log in, it usually gives you a guild message of the day, and in that message it tells you what guild level you are, or at least in the build that I have, and it keeps track of the kill metric and uploads it, and then it levels. I just haven't really got around to exactly what sort of bonuses that I want to give, right? Because I don't want to. I want to make it so that people that are solo or whatever are having fun and don't have to feel forced into something that they think is, required to play the game. So it's already fast enough that I don't think experience gains would be much of an issue. But if it comes to like damage increase or anything like that, I probably am going to steer away from that unless I see a good reason. But I'm going to definitely be brainstorming the sorts of things that can happen. There's an old instance in the tower that I could probably reuse a little bit, or if you're in the guild and you were to go to the tower, it sends you back to the quote-unquote guild tower, which is the old tower. That's kind of cool. I don't know yet, but yeah, there's definitely some exciting things in the future. I'm not really messing with that too much because I'm really wanting to get Omega difficulty dealt with and just making sure that some of the other issues that are around go away. That being said, we're basically at the end of the month, and so that means we're going to be rotating out the patched heroes, the Squirrel Girl, Magic, and Nick Fury. The next one coming in, which I don't know, I haven't quite decided who, but it is going to be Melee, right? We've had fun with summoners. It's pretty much just ranged chaos. So I know a lot of people have been clamoring about Taskmaster, Captain America, probably some of the other like Black Bolt and whatnot, but we'll see who it is. But it's definitely going to be a melee character, and I have a completely different set of things that I want to try. No summons, sorry, but should be still just as strong. And let's see what else on that. We'll only do that also. I don't know how many characters I'll get through before Omega comes. And, maybe we'll see who else that we can rotate. Because I'd like to also keep a storyline with the characters too. So when I do choose it and I'm trying to come up with a story, I want to make sure that it's good. So we will see who it is. That will probably happen maybe tomorrow or something, and then maybe we'll do a poll for the next one. And then stash commands. I am going to be moving back into that as well because I know people like to be able to move stuff, like you saw me do here in the video. I don't necessarily mind if I lose a item across 90 or 100 things that I'm moving, but I'm just testing at the moment. So someone who has something that they really want probably doesn't want to lose an item, and it's not lost, it just goes invisible, and then you have to use a repair command and have space in your inventory for all of whatever stash that it went into so it can get pulled back out. And it's an annoying thing. It only happens in large quantities, and I haven't figured out why yet. Low quantities, no issues. I've hammered out a couple of the other bugs involving the hero stashes, which that was an issue. That's now gone. Now it's just the large amounts getting moved. And I'm not sure what some of the next events are, but I'll be looking into getting those squared away as well. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye bye.